Welcome to Books and Things with Tom. Another week goes by and we're getting closer to June. A couple more weeks and we're in June. And it feels like July or August out there today. I can't believe the heat.
Unbelievable.
Today my guest is Diane Santos. No relation, but I met her at a book signing and she said, "How do you do?" She held out a hand to shake and she said, "My name is Diane Santos." And I shook her hand. I said, "My name is Tom Santos." So this is how we got to meet each other. And she's written a book called this is Onward into the Light. And it's about losing her fiance.
Almost
Almost
soulmate,
fiance.
yeah.
And very much loved person. And the book is all about how she has managed to get back up and help herself and do everything. Diane, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, you've never written a book before?
No. This was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it come easy?
Well, it wasn't something I ever considered doing in my entire life. I never once thought of writing a book. What happened was, as you say, I did lose my soulmate, Tiger. And when I lost him, I began posting my thoughts on Facebook as though I were speaking to him as a form of therapy for myself.
Yeah.
And friends started to suggest that I write a book. They said they could relate to what I was saying and that perhaps I could help someone else who was grieving. And that's how the book came about. It was just as a result of me posting my thoughts, and I decided to collect them and organize them, and it turned into a book. So.
Well, I think the interesting thing is you call him your soulmate. And reading your book, he was a soulmate.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just a boyfriend or a lover. He was your soulmate.
Yes. Absolutely. We met each other, we worked together at Foxwoods actually, and we were friends. And it just over time evolved into something more. And he absolutely changed my life. He taught me how to live. He just taught me the way that I'm supposed to be treated. And that's not to shed a bad light on any other relationships. It was just different. I don't know how else to put it except that we just clicked.
He obviously revered you.
Yes, he did. Very much so. Yep.
And that's why he gave you so much, and it seemed like it was more than anybody else would. And because he knew what he wanted, reading your book, I could tell a guy was in love with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a shame. And he died suddenly.
He did. He was diagnosed about 10 months previous with congestive heart failure. And he was doing his best to manage it, following the diet restrictions and watching his weight and things. And it was his 57th birthday, actually, the day that he passed away. And he had had a wonderful day. And at night, he started having difficulty breathing. Got up, tried to get some air, and it just culminated into him just, unfortunately, losing his life that night. Yeah.
I have that, too, and it makes me nervous.
Yeah, sorry. Just do what the doctors tell you. And
I do.
Yeah, it's so important.
As a matter of fact, I went to the doctor the other day, and he kept looking at me strange. And I said, "Why are you looking at me like that?" He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't know, whatever you told me to do."
Right.
He said, "I thought you were going to die 2 years ago."
Oh, my goodness. Well, then you're doing something right. Keep doing it.
And, but I feel good.
That's good.
And you never know.
No, absolutely not.
You never, ever know. It's just so quick.
Yeah.
And sometimes, people ask me, would I rather have a lingering death and watch my son die, or there's Quickie?
Yeah.
I vote for Quickie.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend also that he watched his son die for a year.
Yeah.
And this way here, it's done. No suffering, no pain, no nothing.
Suffering,
just over.
yeah. Death is just, each one of us reacts differently when we lose someone.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have our own way of grieving.
Absolutely.
And when I wrote the book, I honestly did not write it as a manual on how to grieve, because there's no such thing. I can't tell you how to grieve. I can't tell you that your way is wrong and mine is right. This was just written just in the hopes of someone else being able to say, "Hey, that line right there, I know exactly what she's talking about. I felt that." And I read your book as well, and I was able to relate and say, "Gee, that right there, I know exactly what he meant." And so
and
it helps.
I didn't write my book to be a grief thing.
Right.
I just wrote it for my grandson.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a whole different book. And it's, and like I said in my book, I'm not telling you how to grieve.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Don't know.
I probably did everything wrong. That's why I suffered so long.
Yeah, and that's another thing I did too. Early when he first passed away, I read a lot of books on grieving, the grieving process, and they made me angry, to be honest, because it just seemed like everyone was saying what I'm supposed to be feeling or should be feeling this or this stage that, and I said, no, none of this really, it didn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
You know, and so I kind of went a different way, and I found myself looking into books that were written by people that had had near-death experiences.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me because it opened up my eyes to another
I read a book,
world.
something about the light. Betty Eady.
Oh, Embraced by the
Embraced by
Light.
the Light.
Love it. Love that book.
I read that book and I thought, I'm ready to die.
Isn't it fun? And you know, that's been a byproduct. You know, you say that of going through this process and having my eyes open to how much more there is to life. I don't fear
Yes.
death. I have no fear whatsoever
No.
of death. I'm not in a rush to go, to
No.
be honest.
I
You know,
totally agree with
feel
you.
like I still have work to do here. However, I don't fear it. I
well,
now
he's
know that
he's
there's
gonna be
more.
waiting there.
Exactly. Exactly. They don't leave us.
No.
You know, they're with us. I'm
No.
sure they're with us right now in this room.
Probably we'll find out if there's
We'll
any
find
more
out.
before long.
Exactly.
But it's just, and after a while, it does give you strength,
Sure.
and
Yes.
you can face things. And I know my life totally changed after he left, and that was mainly because I based my life on him. He was my foundation.
Sure,
My only
yeah.
son. So you base everything on that, and that's
Yeah.
gone. You have no foundation. You have nothing left.
Yeah, what do you do now? Exactly.
Yeah.
And with him and I, we were together just over 3 years, about 3.5 years. So in some people's eyes, I guess that's not very long.
Yeah.
But it isn't how much time you have, it's what you do with that time. And we
quality.
did so much in that time.
Yeah.
You know, so when he was suddenly gone from my world, you know, I just spiraled. I had no idea
yeah.
what to do. The only thing I could think of was to ask God to please take me also, because I could not stand being that miserable.
God's
you know?
smarter than you, though.
Yeah, and he, you know, he had other plans, obviously,
Yeah.
and the book has been one of the things that obviously that
Yeah.
he had planned for me to do, you know, even though I couldn't see it.
It's a good book, and
Thank
it's
you.
And it's a lot of stuff that you went through, and the signs that you finally recognize.
Yes.
and that's tough. See, I have feathers.
Mm-hmm.
The day we put them in the ground, there's a big black feather on the dirt,
Wow.
and I went, oh, that must be from him. And now I've got about 150 of them.
Yeah, they just keep showing up, right? Yeah.
In weird places.
Right.
I live in a apartment complex, and it's a hallway, a long hallway from one end to the other. I opened up the door, and there's a feather laying on the floor. I was like,
How did that get there, right? There's no logical explanation.
None, so that has to be from him.
That's absolutely, his thing
Yeah.
is heart-shaped things,
hearts.
and I write about it in the book. And my granddaughter, Sophia, she has a knack for finding heart-shaped stones.
Yeah.
At the beach, no matter where we are, at the park, at the beach, she'll find a stone in the shape of a heart. And so that's a big thing with him, is anything heart-shaped. Yeah.
Well, I have a friend of mine that lost her son, and the same thing. She finds hearts all over the place, a stone
Right.
or a cookie shaped like a heart
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And she's all excited, of course, when she finds it. And
Sure, yeah, it is.
And-
It's very validating
It
when
is.
you get signs and things, and
Yeah.
it does bring you peace to know that they are still with you. It's different. It's a big adjustment, absolutely. But it does bring peace, I think, to the spirit.
it does, because you're thinking, well, I guess he is still here.
He is still here, right?
Like I was
Yeah.
telling the story about my pants being flown on the other side of the room. He must have been upset with me for
Must have
something.
He wanted to get your attention. I think
He
that's
got it.
what it was. Yeah,
He got it because-
absolutely. Yeah.
But just, and I've had people come to me and say, I got to talk to you about your son. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, John, what is it? And he said, he wants me to tell you that he loves you. I said, oh, okay, thank you very much. He said, he comes to me every single night. Did you talk to my dad yet? Just talk to my dad. And he knew who my son was because he bought my book.
Oh, I see.
And there's a picture of him. And he said his father was with my son when he came to his dreams. And once he told me that my son loved me, he said, no more dreams.
No more. That was it.
I
He
saw-
needed to get that message through
Yeah,
and for him
and
to relay it
just
to
couldn't
you.
get it through to me.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And-
That's what happened similar with me when I went and finally had a reading done.
Yeah.
Which wasn't something I'd ever considered either in my entire life. You know, I was raised to believe that that was not something you were supposed to do. That was bad.
Yes.
However, when I did go and I did speak with the medium, and she relayed his messages in just the manner that he would have been speaking.
Yeah.
And it left no doubt, that it was him speaking.
Who did you go to?
Her name is Laura Salafia. She's in East Lyme.
All right.
Beautiful, beautiful soul.
I went to Pat Gagliano.
I've heard the name.
Yeah,
I've
she's
heard
the
the
one
name.
that found some bodies that Ross had killed.
Yeah.
And I went to her, and she was very, very good.
Yeah, and it's just a feeling that you get, and that's when I started to begin to want to live again. I
Yeah.
said I can still do this, because I haven't lost him, so that was big.
And I don't mean to pry. Are you Catholic?
I was raised Catholic.
Church doesn't want this book.
No, I know.
No, because you talked
And
about going to a medium.
And it's too bad, it's too bad, because I think some people are missing out.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to judge or to say anything. Not everyone is ready for the same thing at the same time. But in my experience, it certainly has given me the will to live again.
Well, here like me, you're inquisitive. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what he's doing. I want to know where he is. I want to know is he okay?
That was my big thing. Is he okay?
Yeah.
I already knew I was suffering and grieving and everything,
Yeah.
but what's going on with him?
Yeah.
And that was different from when my parents passed away. They both passed away years previous, and I didn't have that same thing, like need to know what's going on the other side. I guess I wasn't in that place yet.
I had the same thing. My mother went first, then my father went third, after my son. And it was like it was supposed to happen.
Right.
And it's just, you don't get the same loss. Although I still think of them all the time.
Of
I'd love
course.
to call my father or my mother and say, hey.
Of course, yeah. I was notorious. I would call, from the time I got out into my own apartment, I called my mother multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I used to think, I wonder if she just thinks, why doesn't she just come home? Because I would call her so many times a day, so I certainly missed that, that.
With me, it was the opposite. My mother would call me twice a day.
Oh, okay.
And I'd say, Mom, I'm fine. Don't call so much. Oh, you don't want me to call anymore? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it.
Well, let me just say I have 2 sons, and what you just said makes sense. Because sons, they're doing their own thing.
Leave me alone.
They're doing their own, and that's okay. It tells me I raised independent men, so that's a good thing.
Yep, and tell them you love them all the time.
Absolutely, yes.
Because I used to drive them crazy. Oh, I got to kiss you every time I leave the house? Yes.
Yes.
And he said that the last time he left.
Yeah.
And, but I got my hug and I got my kiss.
And you got your kiss, that's right. And he's still with you, so
Yeah.
you don't have to doubt that. Yes.
Yeah. But we had a lot of understandings, and we were good together.
Yeah.
Because his mom had left me 8 or 9 years before that, so he lived with me.
Oh, I see.
And so I was the Mr. Mom.
Right.
Drove me nuts. But that's, and it's good to get something out like this. It's, anytime you can get it into words,
Right.
it's good.
And it's been, actually, I wrote it with the intent of helping other people who are grieving. And it's been doing that. The feedback that I've gotten from people has ranged from people saying that they couldn't put it down, so they read the book in a day, to the other side of it, them saying, I'm trying to read it slow because it's so good I don't want to finish it, And many people have told me that it's not just for someone who's grieving. There's other things in here. It kind of teaches you how you should love one another and different nuances of relationships.
Yeah, because it's almost a romance.
Yeah.
And without getting into the romantic factors of a remote romance, it's
Right, yeah.
It's about love.
He was my Prince Charming.
Yeah.
And he was 6'5", 400 pounds. That's a big Prince Charming. But heart of gold, and just, a big teddy bear in that big body that some adults would find intimidating.
And I got from the book also that he was learning things from you too.
This is true. His family relayed that to me. After he passed, they actually thanked me for making him so happy, because they said that they'd never seen him the way that he was in the time that he and I were together. So that was very good to hear, and gratifying to know that I had brought joy to him as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because you always wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's been times I wonder if my son loved me or he just
Sure.
obeyed me.
No, I'm sure he loves you. Yeah, loves. Never use it in the past tense. Always in the present.
Yeah.
Love never dies. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that's very
and
important.
I get other people every once in a while say, they dreamed them of them.
Sure.
And they do come into you in dreams.
I've had people, you see in the book, different people that have given me messages, and it continues to happen.
Yeah.
He finds, I think what they do, and this is just my own thoughts, is that the people, when they cross over to that other side, they find people that they can most easily get messages to and use them as the messengers for us, because like you say, you feel like you don't really get that connection sometimes, you know, and that happens with me as well. And then someone else, this third party, will come in and boom, it's crystal clear. Yeah.
I went to women's classes. Used to have angel classes. I went studying angels, and I walked in, and Linda said, "Oh, you brought Todd with you."
I did.
Well, he's standing right there, right over your right shoulder. I said, "Really?"
That's good.
But she saw it.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. That happened when I went to the reading. When I got in, the woman says to me, "Who's the man with you?"
Yeah.
She says, "He's got a lot to say. He hasn't stopped talking since you walked in the door." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness,"
Yeah.
So that was very, very reassuring right from the very beginning. It really was. Yeah, yeah.
They play tricks on you.
They do.
Yeah, and they're fun. And sometimes they just, and a lot of times I feel him pushing me in a certain direction.
Right.
And you're thinking, I don't want to go that way. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. And I've learned to trust that little voice that you say to yourself sometimes when you do something and something goes wrong and you say, "Oh, I should have listened to that little voice." I've made a conscious effort to start listening to that little voice, because it's usually someone who loves you, who's trying to put you in that right direction,
And they will do that.
Absolutely,
They know
and they
better
won't
than
steer
you
you
do.
wrong,
No.
so you're better off to listen.
I was supposed to go to a picnic and meet somebody, and I really didn't want to go. I was sick. Couldn't breathe. My leg was killing me because of arthritis.
Yeah.
I finally went, and I sat next to this woman, who it turned out was supposed to be the woman that I was supposed to meet.
Oh.
And we've been friends ever since.
Isn't that nice?
Last
See?
in September.
You see? What
But
would've
neither one of
happened?
us wanted to be there.
Right.
So somebody was
pulling the strings behind the scenes. Yeah.
probably her husband and my son. These two are going to get together.
Let's get these two on the same path.
Now, what is your second book about? You just
My
written
second
one.
book, yes, I've just finished it. Should be out soon. The second one is more about how I've been able to pull myself out of the darkness.
Okay.
The methods that I used, which is really simple. Basically, just staying grateful. Gratitude has been my saving grace.
Yeah.
Rather than focus on losing him, I focused on what we shared in our time together and stayed grateful for that. And so the new book, I actually just had to retitle it, is Rainbows After the Storm.
Well, that's nice.
The subtitle is An Empowering Approach to Overcoming the Trials of Life. And so I've been very, very busy with trying to get that formatted for publishing, and it should be out by the end of this month, is my goal.
Now, are you self-publishing or?
Self-publishing through Create Space, which is part of Amazon. So
I'll talk to you about that afterwards.
Sure.
Create Space. I got that right. Anyway, I've thought about another book. I'm just so busy doing all this stuff.
Right.
Just haven't got the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad to hear that you've gone into another one.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because having never thought about writing a book, once I wrote this one, it's like the floodgates have been opened and I can't stop writing. And I just have a love affair with words. I absolutely love to write.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed my stuff that I post on
Facebook. Yes.
Mother's Day and my brother's birthday, and you could just go on and on.
Yeah. I just find that I grew up very shy, wouldn't speak to anyone.
Yeah.
And now I am doing public speaking, in regards to my books. I've spoken at several places, several libraries. I spoke at Yale New Haven Hospital, and I love it because I'm speaking my truth. It's my life. I don't have to remember anything.
That's the way you overcome it, is because you know the subject.
Right.
Period. So
Yes.
you can talk about it.
Yeah, and I could go on and on and on and on. So it's been quite a journey, and it's nowhere near over. I'm sure.
Oh, no, you probably write a couple more books.
Yeah.
You're going to beat me. Now, where can we buy this book?
It's available on Amazon for in paperback as well as for Kindle, the e-version, if anyone likes that. I prefer the old-fashioned book because I like to turn the pages. However, and it's also on barnesandnoble.com, but it's only available online. So,
okay.
Yeah, so feel free to log on and you can order the books there. Absolutely.
And there's your email address and everything up there,
yeah,
the website.
My email there, my website. My website is based on positivity and gratitude. It's meant as an uplifting source because, as you know, you watch the nightly news and you're bombarded with negativity, which is why I don't watch the news. But I try to just keep myself in a positive space, you know, and it does help.
Now, how long after he passed did you start writing the book?
Oh, let's see. Well, he passed away in July, so it was about, I would say, 6 months.
Yeah.
About 6 months after. Yeah, and it took me about 6 months to complete the book.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow. It took me 3 years to start and 10 years to finish.
I don't know. I just, you know, I'm one of these people. I don't have a big social life. So when I come home, it's just me and the TV. So why not use that time to write?
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Yeah, I was just too depressed.
Yeah. And that just goes to show we all handle it differently.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
we all have our ways of coping.
Yeah, because I wrote the first part after 3 years, and then the second part, another 3 years, and the third part, another 3 years, and then the last chapter in my 10th year.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you got it done, and it's beautifully written. I really enjoyed it.
I was very happy with it.
Yeah.
And when it was delivered, my ex-girlfriend found a big feather in front of the door.
Of course. Of course. That's beautiful.
And so I guess he was happy too. But your, now do you have any book signings coming up?
I don't really have any book signings coming up. I do, hopefully will be a vendor at the Norwich Rose Arts Festival. They're bringing that back this year after many, many years of not having it. It was very big, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, but they're bringing it back this year, so I'm hopefully going to be a vendor there. I also will be speaking at a spiritual church in Newington in August. I'm a guest speaker there.
And that's August 13th.
That's August 13th, yes. So there's that. And then I don't really have anything else lined up right now, although when the new book is released, I'm sure I'll be embarking on some different things, you know, with that book and promoting it and marketing it, because as a self-published author, that's your job, to market your work. And I enjoy it, so.
You know, don't let them fool you. If self-published or not, you've got to sell the book.
You still have to sell the book, of course.
The publishers are not going to sell it for you.
No, they're not.
And they're going to pay you, and if you don't sell it, they take the money back.
They take
They're not nice.
No, they don't play fair.
Your name isn't Patterson.
No, nope, big difference.
Well, I want to get you down to Kappa and see what the rest of us do down there, because we have a couple of things that we're planning. We're going to do the, as a note, with the Groton Municipal, Groton Park is going to be having their, farmers market again.
Oh, okay.
On Tuesday, starting in July. And we're the only authors right now that's going down there.
Oh, I see.
And and it's fun because regardless of your sell books, you meet people.
Exactly.
And if you go back the second time, they come back and say, "Gee, I'm meant to buy a book," or whatever. And so you get. And the whole idea is to get people to know who you are.
Sure.
And that's why we do the TV show.
And this is how we met, was, you know, at the Author Fest in New London. And that was a wonderful experience, meeting all those authors.
That was. Matter of fact, one of the guys that was sitting directly across from me, Cooperwood.
Okay.
He just joined the Kappa.
Oh, okay.
And he's been coming to a couple of meetings.
And then I ended up meeting an author who grew up with my dad and my uncles when they were little kids. I mean,
No
you know,
kidding.
10, 11 years old. Dan Blackstone is his name, and he's an author. And
Dan's came over on the Titanic, I think.
so you're saying my dad was, but it's so funny because they grew up as kids in the same neighborhood, so it was beautiful to meet him as well. So you never know who you'll meet. Yeah.
He's a member. Dan is a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's 90 years old.
And he's sharp as a tack.
Oh, my God. He can run rings around me.
Yeah.
We still got a couple of minutes. Is there anything else you want to discuss?
I don't know that I said his name. Michael Tyrone Johnson is the subject of my book, my soulmate, better known as Tiger.
And where did Tiger come from?
He grew up in Norwich as well, born in Chester, Pennsylvania. Moved here when he was a very young boy with his family. He's one of 9 children, so it was a very large family. His dad, thank God, is still living, still with us,
Good.
91 years old. And yeah, so the family, the Johnson family, I can't say enough for how they've embraced me and my children and granddaughter and just made us a part of their family.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
absolutely.
And because you're not related, so you didn't have to.
They didn't have to, you know, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart for including me in the arrangements. I was allowed to help make decisions and everything, and all of that helps you heal, you
Yes.
know, when you're not secluded from it, when you're included.
And so many times, girlfriends or boyfriends
Yes.
are left outside because they're not
true.
related. There's no word for you.
Yes,
you
when
know.
I spoke in the East Line Public Library, it was a group of 5 women that came, none of which I'd met before. They
Yeah.
came just because they wanted to hear me speak. And one of the women shared that she had been with this man, I want to say it was maybe 20 years, but they had never been married. And when he passed away, his children just excluded her completely.
Yeah.
And I thought, how heartbreaking. You
Yeah.
know, this woman, he loved her, you
Sure.
know, and why can't you honor the fact that he loved this woman?
Yeah.
So it does happen, but I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
very fortunate.
And that's something that does happen all the time. I know with my son, it was the same thing. A lot of the kids were just,
Yeah.
you know, they're excluded, and you're just. But these are the same kids that got me through.
Sure. I
A
read
lot
that
of
in your
years.
book, and I thought how wonderful that his friends rallied around you. Yeah, that had
And
to
they're
be
still
helpful.
around. They're
Yeah,
still
that's
around.
beautiful.
And I enjoy them. They're like my own children.
And if I could say one last thing, because
Sure.
I didn't mention my own family, Cape Verdean, grew up in Norwich, and Santos and Rosario are my 2 family names. My family has been also phenomenal with helping me heal and standing by me. They're quite a force, so
Yeah.
I'm grateful to them as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you need family. Unfortunately, all my family was gone.
Oh my goodness.
And if it wasn't for the woman that I met, I don't know where I'd be today.
Well, she was placed in your path for a reason.
And she's still in my life, but it's
Yeah.
different anyway. For previously aired shows, please tune in to sectv.org and click on the YouTube button, or you can go to YouTube and type in Books and Things with Tom, and you'll be able to find me on there. I've recently completed an 8-week heroin addiction. I mention this every week, and I want everybody to go see the series on YouTube, because there was a lot of coverage over an 8-week period, and what to do and how to do it and how you can help somebody, or if somebody needs help, you can go to them. Special thanks to Frank and Frank at SECTV for helping me host this show. By the way, we operate on donations, so if you'd like to, if you like our shows, you send a check, and it's deductible. And next week, my guest will be Frankie Justin Lamprey, and this is the 4th year on my show. He is a wonderful uprising country superstar, and just a great kid. So tune in, because he'll be playing his new music that he's got coming up. May is, I didn't know this, but May is Older American Month, and it's a special time to honor and celebrate our elderly residents. This year's theme is Age Out Loud, whatever that means. And our senior population is growing at an enormous rate, and they continue to do wonderful things. So be kind to the elderly. Flip them a few bucks, they probably need it. Anyway, Kennedy made that a law back in '63. Thank you for watching. Email me at santostom@comcast.net. You should be reading. Cuddle up with a good book. Even though it's warm nights, turn the air conditioner on, cuddle up with a good book. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tom.